You all, this is Hussein Nasser from iGeometry. Are we recording? Yes, we are. Alright, so what do we want to discuss today? Yes, versioning. Man, was not bad. So, in the last episode, we discussed what? Non-versioned archiving. So we discussed the concept of archiving, which is the ability to keep history of edits that you make through the database, right? And obviously this is only enabled on the enterprise geodatabase. So things like the SDE, so Postgres, Oracle, SQL Server, etc., etc. Right? So this ability are enabled. So today I want to discuss. This is a long topic, so I don't want to squeeze everything in one episode. I want to little breathe and perhaps break it into multiple episodes. So versioning, what is versioning? And then versioning perhaps with archiving and without archiving. Still debating this. Still debating if I want to discuss both options here. But the reason we're bringing all these moods of editing, if this is the correct term, we want to solve a problem, right? Remember the first episode? We have a problem with our telecom company called Phonatech, and we want to design a solution for them to be able to place their towers in a correct location, and they will have multiple users connecting to this database, and each will have their own project, and each will have their own service territory they work on in different cities, and they want to propose things, and we want to able to design a solution that effectively to create a project and then lay down all these towers and then analyze and run those cool tools that we wrote and then propose and then post these project into default. We want to write all these kind of code, but we want to first explain what is a version. So my idea is a project is a version, right? So would like to create a project, and then one would use that space, the isolated space, to create their own towers, right? So if I bring up this project, it is getting so cold in Southern California. Really cold. Dude. We're not used to this. We're not used to this weather. And people from Minnesota are now laughing at me. In all these cold states. All right, so yeah, so this is the default version. This is the master correct version. I want to be able to let users or editors play and create their own service territories, like in El Dorado. Where am I? Which state is this? I just picked a random state, I believe. I believe it's Kansas. El Paso, of course it's El Paso. Dude, this is not, yeah, El Paso is like, this is the border. Dude, this is between Mexico and the States. I should pick somewhere else. All right, so this is what we want, right? We want people to create a version or an isolated space, and they will create a city here, a state, or even a city, right? Just to place their towers and then recalculate and see how it works. But we don't want them to hit the production default version and do all this stuff. We want them to play and corrupt everything in their own version, and we want also other users to see that copies of versions, right? So what I'm mumbling about, guys. So we want to talk about versioning, right? So this database is non-version. So what does that mean? Non-versioned. So it doesn't have the ability to do, as we explained before, non-version databases or geodatabases, or doesn't have the ability to have high isolation, right? We talked about this a lot, and long transactions as well. So these two capabilities are not available with the non-versioned archiving, or non-archiving for that matter. So you cannot create a version and that is isolated from the rest of things. It doesn't exist in this mood of editing. So what we want to do is, today we're going to talk about versioning. So how do I enable versioning in my geodatabase or feature classes? So how do I make my feature classes smart enough to be versioned, right? And what does it mean for a feature class or a table to be versioned, right? So that's what we want to discuss. So a versioned feature class is a smart feature class that the workspace at the client level reads and understand that it can have multiple states. So we do that by creating multiple tables, the adds and deletes and other kind of tables to keep track of the state. And this is a very important word, the state. I don't want to dive deep into the details of implementation here. This is not the intention. The intention is just to understand the concept, right? So we keep a track of the state of a feature class, right? Like, what is the latest state of this? Like, think of this. Let's explain maybe in Paint or wherever. All right. So really simple, right? Think of this as the default version, right? This is the default. Dude, this is big. Right? Think of this as your default version. You just created a default version, right? And then you created, let's not even dive into the versioning itself, just the default version. You created an edit, right? So what we want to discuss is here today only. I'm gonna stick with the long transaction. I'm not gonna discuss high isolation now. It's just high isolation. You get it for free when you have long transactions. So let me explain. So you have the default, and let's say the state of this is 0, right? Just the state, right? And you created a feature. So instead of creating a row on that feature class, what we do is we create it somewhere else and we assign that guy this this version to state 1, for example. And state 1 tells you that the feature this feature has been created in state 1, right? And then what you do, basically, that's it. So you have state 0 where that feature didn't exist, and you have state 1 where that feature exists, right? And what you do is basically that goes on. Any edit just creates another state. Really simple, beautiful design, right? I'm talking about implementation here, just the design of this. I'm really fascinated about this architecture, really. So it's all computer science, right? So, and then let's say I created another feature or deleted a feature. So that's just a change of state. So like you're changing the state of your version. So 0, 1, 2, right? So 0, no features. In one, I created one feature, created feature one, created feature X, and then here I created feature Y. Okay, so and that's it. We play with the state. The state is everything now here. If I point the version to state 0, then you're gonna see no features. If I point the version to state 2, then you're gonna see both feature X and Y. If you're gonna point the default version to state 1, you're gonna see only feature X, and so on. That's in a nutshell, this is versioning. And the beauty of this is that because I have states, I can now go back and forth. Is that it? Yeah. I can undo things. Okay. Oh, I created a feature. We always create something. We always create state, and we create that feature, and we create it somewhere else. And you can now just play with this timeline, right? I want to go. I created a feature, and then you did. Oh, I'm gonna undo. We don't delete that feature. What we do is basically we point you to this state 0. So you think you're seeing no features, but the database has that feature and this feature, but you just don't see it. And when you save, you say, okay, I'm interested. Okay, you know what? I created this feature, and then you say undo, and then you say undo again. I hope you see the mouse because it's very important, the steps, right? Pooh. So you created a feature X, and then you created a feature Y, and they say, you know what? I'm gonna undo, and then you know what? I'm gonna undo. So we just play with the state. Okay, you're pointing now to state 0. I say, you know what? I'm gonna save here. That's it. I'm done. You saved, and then we say, okay, you saved here, and these states become dangling. Nobody is pointing to them. It says, you know what? The moment you save, we're gonna delete those. We're gonna delete the states. Simple. That's versioning in a nutshell. So that's right there. That's what I explained. It's called long transactions, right? The transaction versus long transaction. So long transaction is something that you can go forth and back and undo, redo. This is basically what long transaction is. All right. So enough theory. Let's go to our implementation. So in the last episode, where's the catalog window main? Where is the catalog window main? There you go. All right. So I solved this bug that we had last time. Remember when John was the actual connected user, we were getting insufficient permission. So the problem is that it was some missing permission. So what I did is basically I went in and dropped the geodatabase. I dropped the whole data set here and I copied it again and enabled archiving, and it was just fine. And then I assigned the permissions to John. Everything was fine. All right, now I want to, let's see if this works, right? I can just enable versioning here. I don't like it, but I'm gonna, the best way is actually to drop the whole thing. Just drop it. Of course, you can't do that while we're connected. So we're gonna drop it, and we have a copy of the enterprise file geodatabase. So we're good. We're good. All right. So let's see. Are we having locks now? Refresh. See if we can delete this guy. Yeah, we're still locking it. So let's just close. Just open our catalog. Our catalog is just another tool that allows you to edit and change the schema of your databases really easily. You can still do it from ArcMap. We drop that guy, we say bye-bye. All right, go back here with Phonatech. We just so this is the good thing about our catalog. You can actually select multiple things and do it at the same time. And paste. And OK. Oh man, these are all the old table that from archiving. We still have them. We can safely delete them. Those edge tables. All the edge tables are the history from archiving. I think I explained that, right? So we don't need them. We don't care. All right. So let's assign some privileges here. Or let's do that after. How about that? Let's do the registration. So to register the dataset as version, you just register as version. Really simple. And then you take those two guys. Then register. This checkbox, I'm going to explain it some other time. All right. So now what do we have? I'm going to explain it when the time comes about reconcile and post and all these things. We're not going to discuss that today. All right. So we have this. What should we do now? We have a register as version. So now we created all these nice side tables that you don't see. And now we assign this to John. You can do everything, Jon Snow. But you know nothing. What? Why do we have different... It's just odd. Grant. So there's a GP tool that does that. I forgot about it. All right, so we just grant editing onto these tables and reading. We don't really need editing for John on towers details. He just read that stuff. All right, so that project should just magically opens now. So we're gonna just demonstrate long transactions now. And then we're gonna call it a day. Short episode today. Where is my project? Okay, phonatech.mxt. So I'm supposed to see my stuff. Nothing changed, except now we're really in a versioned environment. So now, when I start editing, remember that there is edit a version of a database with the ability to undo redo. Now we should be able to do that. I hope we don't get any problems. Look at that. Now, how about that? Let's just do beep. We change this guy. And then we change it again. Bring it here. That's the second edit. And then we change it here. Third edit. Look at that. Undo, goes back, undo, goes back, undo, goes back, right? Redo, redo. Look how fast is this? This is just changing the states. Remember, how many states do we have here? One state, the zero state, the first state, the second state, the third state, right? And you can do anything you want with the whole thing, right? And see, that's the ability of the long transaction. And see, all of this, you can choose to save your edit now, and then it will say, okay, I saved your stuff now, right? So you cannot, once you save, you cannot undo and redo anymore. We delete that stack of states. Where's that picture at? The moment you save, wherever you saved, we delete anything after that. We call them forward edits. Delete forward edits. So anything after that, we just bye. All right. So let's stop editing. and then run our nice tool here. I suspect that this will crash. Nice. All right. The object cannot be edited using the current edit session mode. Edit session mode, that's the term I was looking for. Who can guess while I open the Visual Studio project? Take a guess. Take a guess. Take a wild guess. We did something in the last episode that changed the code, right? So, right, going once, twice. All right. So, what we changed is we changed the edit mode in the start session operation to work with only non-versioned archiving. We specifically said, hey, I am editing a multi-version, multi-user database. So I want, and then this is a non-version one. So there you go. So we're gonna find all the occurrences of this and change them to very hard, huh? All right, so since we're gonna do a find and replace, might as well, right? Find, replace. I really want to make all these edit sessions in one place. I don't like this design one bit that I have to change like multiplace. But think about this, right? What are the frequency that you're gonna change your, if you're building an application for a production environment, people don't change overnight the edit session mode from non-version. You're gonna do this once probably, and like you made a decision, okay, oh, you went versioning, and then you said, oh, really, the overhead of long transactions, of keeping all these states is becoming, it's good. I like the long transaction, I like the high isolation, I like people editing, but I don't need it anymore. I have confidence in my data, and we're gonna go on server. So I want the server to head directly the default, and this, or maybe you have another database, and that database is you want it to be non-versioned, and this database is versioned, and you want to run sync between them, and you want to keep that other database that the servers and mobile devices hit to be, are we recording? Yes, we are. To be non-version, so it would be like much faster and to head and query these things. So you don't care about versioning, so that you at that point you will change this code. So it depends. So this all design and coding decisions that you make, you have to think, okay, how frequently I change this. It's good to keep everything in one place. It's always a good idea, right? But sometimes it's if you're lazy, I don't really care, but it's a good idea to put everything in one place. Sometimes it's not. Like Hussein, you're not making any sense now, right? So, sometimes you want to have different, you have to have the flexibility of starting different session modes, right? I have two databases and I want my code to understand both of them. I don't want to put all my code in like one place and you change it and everybody should now respect the new mode. No, I want every single class of my code to know how to talk to that database, right? So that's the idea. All right, so now that we changed everything, I compile, and then we run my project. Oh, did it? Come on, build started. You can do it before ArcMap starts. Yes, I don't know if it make it. I don't know if the add-in made it. I have no idea. It could have failed. I have no idea. All right, so this is still the default version. I still didn't explain the versioning aspects of it. So I'm going to do this in the next episode. But let's see.
I wasn't able to understand the question I heard.
Thanks, Alexa. The object cannot be edited. Yeah, I think I didn't get it. Like I compiled, I ran too fast, so it picked up the old one. At least that's what I think. So let's just rebuild again, and now ArcMap picked up the new add-in. Hopefully. Does that make sense, guys? Hope it does. So cold here. Aywa. Look at that. Look at that. You saw that? Yeah. Is that gonna crash or what? So I'm gonna edit this. Oh, you have to start editing now. Oh. Save the project so it remembers that change. Type B. I'm gonna make both of them type A so they are bigger. Even those. Type C, make this type A. See, just an edit. But I can undo all of them now. They all in the stack, the edit stack. They all committed to the database. It's just we, the client, know what to do with this. So let's just save edits, stop editing, and then booyah. Look at how cool is this, right? So, does this work? Dude, this guy has all this reception he needs. Full bar. When you're in green, you get full bar. When you're in yellow, you get 3. When they're red, you get 2. When you're here, you don't get any reception. So we still need to, like, introduce, like, these guys have to be, like, we can always fix it, right? We can do that. We can put this back, but obviously this is just editing. But in the real world, you don't know if you can actually put that tower that location. You can't just make assumption. Yeah, there are a lot of work here, so not necessarily that simple editing. We can make this project as smart as possible, but there are a lot of factors, right? So where is this tower exactly? If you took this tower, like, where is it? Is it in a street? Can you put it there? Is it a residential area? Do you have permission to do that? All kind of things. All right, guys. I think this is it for me today. Sorry for the short episode. And tomorrow, next week, hopefully, we're gonna talk about versioning and high isolation. Hope you like it. See you in the next one. Goodbye.